this lesson, we're going to look at a new feature that's going to be included in version 4.10.4 of Flex, and this is the ability to scan gear out to multiple trucks during the prep process. Before we show how to do that, let's look at a couple of things that you have to set up in your system in order for this to work properly. First, you have to add any of the types of trucks or transportation that you're going to use into your inventory. So in this example, I just created a new inventory group called Trucks, and I added a 53-foot trailer as a serial model with serial units for trailer 1, 2, and 3, just to correspond with the amount of trailers that I own. And same with the box truck. I've created as a serialized model with box truck 1 and box truck 2. To add the types of transportation that you want to use as you are scanning out, you'll go to a new Trucks tab that you'll see on the pull sheet. Then you'll click the Add button. Let's just call this truck number 1, and we'll say that the trailer is the 53-foot trailer that I added. So you're searching for an inventory item here, this 53-foot trailer that I added. The power is optional. If you want to add the tractors or whatever is going to be pulling the trailers in your inventory, then you can also add that here. I haven't added that in my system, so I'm just going to leave that blank. But like I said, that's an optional field that you can enter. Same with the broker. If you want to add if you're using a broker for this truck, and you can add the driver. Just for fun, let's say that I will be driving this truck. Then we'll click Save, and you can see that truck 1 is now here on the Trucks tab. Let's add a truck 2 as well. And this time let's say that we want to use the box truck. Again, we'll leave these two blank, and then let's add Chris Stein as the driver. So now we have 2 trucks here on the Trucks tab. And now let's go back to the Pull Sheet tab, and the next thing you have to do is add the truck groups to the pull sheet. So if I click on Add Truck Groups, it will show both of the trucks that I set up. I'll select All, then click Add. So I'm not actually adding these physical inventory items of trucks to the pull sheet. I'm just adding truck groups, truck 1 and truck 2, so that when I get to the prep screen, it will know that I have 2 trucks I can choose from to scan the gear into. Of course, if you want, you could add the trucks themselves. So I'll add a box truck and a 53-foot trailer to this pull sheet, just so I can keep track of the serial units. Maybe I'll put a barcode on the inside of each of these trailers and on the inside of my box trucks, so I can scan those out to this job as well, just so you know that this particular truck has gone to that job. That might be useful if it's an out-of-town job and the truck is going to sit at the dock or stay in the city that the job is at. I'm not going to add them for this particular example, but just know that you can do that. The important thing though is that you just added the truck groups, truck 1 and truck 2, to the pull sheet, so that when you get to the prep screen, it knows that you can choose between those 2. You'll see a new option down here called Current Truck in addition to your current location. Right now we're in truck 1, and so anything that we scan is going to scan into truck 1. So let's just start scanning a few of these items. And you can see right away that a new Manifest tab is open for truck 1. Let's scan a few more items into truck 1. And now let's change to truck 2. We could do that just by simply clicking on the Change button, highlighting truck 2 and click accept, and then verify that it's switched to truck 2. Anything that I scan from here on out will go to truck 2. And you can see that a new manifest tab is open for truck 2. And now when I click finalize, you can see that 2 manifests have been created as child elements to this pull sheet, and they're labeled as truck 1 and truck 2. One important setting that you should look at to verify that the manifests will be named truck 1 and truck 2 is under projects, project elements, double click on manifest, and then under the first tab, the identity and exposure tab, you want to make sure that name override enabled is set to yes. If this is set to no, and when you click finalize, then both the manifests will be created, but they'll just both be called the name of the job without any indication of which truck. So again, just make sure you go to projects, project elements, double click on manifest, and on the identity and exposure tab, make sure that name override enabled is set to yes, then click update. The rest of the scan process works pretty much just the same as before, the only difference being that you can change which truck you're scanning into. You can still go in and look at your related scan records and undo a scan if you want, and it will remove it from that prep and from the truck. And the return process is very similar as well. You can either open the manifest or go to the warehouse return manifest screen and find the manifest. And you can see that both of these manifests only contain the gear that we scanned into the truck that it says in the title. If you do a ship scan in your company, then you can enter the ship scan screen and it will only show the items on that manifest or in that truck. But in this case, let's just go and return the gear. And you can see that, again, it only shows the items that are in truck number 2. So I can select all, scan all in, and it only scans those line items. I can go back to truck 1 and do the same thing. I'll go to the return screen, and I can return everything that came from truck 1. So just as a quick recap, make sure that you have your forms of transportation or your trucks set up as inventory items in your system. And again, you don't really have to do anything fancy with these. All I did was set them up as a serialized model and just gave it a name and a short name. If you want, if you're going to be actually tracking each of your trailers that are going out on jobs, then maybe you'll want to add more of this information. But really you just have to set up the basics for this to work properly. Then on the pull sheet, adding trucks to the trucks tab, and then adding the truck groups to the pull sheet. And then from the pull sheet, you can change which truck you're scanning into by clicking the change button. And again, just make sure that you've gone to projects, project elements, and manifest, just to make sure that on that identity and exposure tab, name override enabled is set to yes. If you have any questions about this new functionality, please email support@flexrentalsolutions.com.